Alright, duelists, welcome back. Yesterday we got you guys the Speed Duel Magnet Warriors, and today we are going to do the Master Game version, the Casual Magnet Warriors. And if you guys were a big fan of Yugi during the Battle City arc, this has got the update cards with the electromagnets in it, and we will be playing all the way into their fusion monster Imperium. So if you guys end up liking this, feel free to throw a subscription at me. And definitely go tell your friends about this stuff, because honestly, this is a lot of fun. And so is just about every other deck we built. So let's go ahead and show you guys the list, and then we'll talk strategy afterwards. So starting it up, we're going to be using, honestly, it's going to be 3 of each of the effect versions and 2 of the normals. So 3 Alpha Electro, 2 Alpha Regular, 3 Berserkian, the Electromagna, 3 Beta, the Electromagnet, 2 Regular Beta, 2 Gammas, or 3 Gammas, 2 the original Gammas. You know, a normal person would restart and edit this out, but I think it's funny when I mess up like this. So 3 Valkyrian. Going over to spells, I'm going to be using 3 copies Dark World Dealings. We're going to be using the 1 Foolish Burial. We're going to be using the 3 copies of Magnetic Field, just like we did yesterday. We're going to be using the Monster Reborn 1. We're going to be using Polymerization 2, Pot of Avarice 1, Ragakai 1, Magnet Conversion 2, Necrofusion 2, and Rock Bombardment will round it out at a 40-card build at 3. Going over to our extra deck, and I know this is where you guys are going to go, what? You said it was a casual deck. Yeah, okay, well, casual for me might mean something different. There are plenty of options for you guys to play. The really strict thing is you really do want 3 copies of Imperium. Outside of that, feel free to play Digesto Emerald or not. You know, if you have a better budget or you have a better collection than me, you could easily make this into Gallant Granite and go ahead and do specific searches. We got Exiton Knight here for board control. Again, if you don't have these, you could try Utopia, although I decided not to put Utopia in this time. I got the Gorgonic Guardian because I thought that was a really cool tech choice. I got Levier the Sea Dragon. It was a pretty good choice. Apollosa comes in the tin version, the Mega 20. It comes in the original release, the secondary release, and the gold release as well. So Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, just something I had. You can play any other Link 3 that you want. Borlo Dragon, not that hard to find anymore. Boral's Sword. Thank you, Mr. Drumsticks. I'm gonna start using your copy during my deck profiles and leave mine in my book. So 1 Boral Sword, because it wins games. Phoenix and Unicorn, I'm using shinier versions, yes, but you guys just watched me pull, what, like 6 or 7 copies each out of 2 boxes of the Genesis Impact. So these are super budget now, and everybody can and should have them. And we're going to be running 2 copies Mrs. Radiant. Again, magnets are all Earth, and this, I have created boards where I had double Mrs. Radiant. So these girls are both plus 1,000. They're Monarch Strength, swinging around at 24. Plus, I have a bunch of magnets. So, cool stuff. If that was all that you guys wanted, if all you wanted was the deck list today, sorry for stumbling all over my words, but that is the list. So, class is dismissed for you guys. Anybody who's interested in how this works, let's get started. So, obviously, for those of you who watched yesterday, and those of you who didn't, you know, after this, maybe go give it a look. The regular magnets are just stats, and you can play the original Valkyrian by either having them in any combination, field in hand, and discarding them to sending them to the graveyard in order to summon it. And then, of course, you could use Valkyrian from the field to bring back the 3 magnets that make it in the first place. So we will skip talking about them and go straight to the electromagnets. So first up is our boy Alpha. When normal or special summoned, add a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to your hand. This is either of the 2 Berserkian or Valkyrian. Add that from deck to hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. During the opponent's turn, you may tribute this card and special summon a level 4 Magnet Warrior from the deck as a quick effect. You're going to notice, I believe, all 3 of the electromagnets are going to be capable of doing this, and it really is just leveling them up and into their other version. Another thing to note, he's almost an invert of the original stats, as he's actually one of the stronger cards. Berserkian, our other boss character, cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from the hand by banishing 1 alpha, beta, gamma, all electromagnetic from hand, graveyard, or face up from the monster zones. You can banish 1 level 4 lower magnet warrior from the graveyard, then target a card your opponent controls to destroy it. If this card itself is destroyed by battle, or if it is in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 each of your banished alpha, beta, and gamma, the electromagnets, and special summon them back. He is a more playable retrain of the original Valkyrian. And it's mostly due to his banishment effects that we're going to be using the magnet conversion to such good, I don't want to say use, but like, that's the reason we're going to be able to use it so well. Beta, my boy, got a little bit weaker. Stat-wise. However, when normal or special summoned, we may add 1 level 4 or lower magnet warrior from deck to hand, except beta electromagnet. You can only use this, of course, once per turn, and during the opponent's turn, we may tribute it to special summon a level 4 magnet warrior from the deck as a quick effect. And going off to Gamma, Gamma got a little bit weaker, but got way more defense. Well, not way more defense, just a couple hundred more, but enough. When it is normal or special summon, you may special summon a level 4 or lower from the hand except itself, or same name. You can use this effect once per turn, and then during the opponent's turn, you may tribute it to special summon a level 4 from the deck as a quick effect. So as far as a quick Link 2 goes, Gamma's probably your best play. You play him, play somebody else, go into your Link. If you wanted to play the Gorgon, you go into an Xyz 3. You could overlay using him and any of the other electromagnets. They've already got so many cool plays just based around what you saw there. But it's the spell traps that really start to kick everything off. So with Dark World Dealings, I know this card's been around a minute, but it's not a commonly played tech card anymore. All players draw 1 card, and then as an effect, each player then discards a card. Now, this is a good way to get into digging around in our deck while loading the discard pile, because again, Berserkion doesn't care if they're already in the graveyard. So because of that, Berserkion, and you got to remember those stats, look at those stats, 3,000 by 28. It may not be as strong as Valkyrian, but again, as long as we can get these cards into the graveyard, we can play a huge power threat. So Dark World Dealings does a good job. Foolish Burial lets us set cards directly into the graveyard, which lets us play that off. Magnet Field, for those of you who may not have watched yesterday, if I control a level 4 or lower earth and rock type monster, I can target a level 4 or lower magnet warrior in my graveyard and special summon it back. And you could use this effect of the magnetic field once per turn, and then once per turn at the end of the damage step. When an earth rock monster that I control has battled an opponent's monster and the opponent's monster was not destroyed in the battle, I may return that monster to the hand. And again, this is amazing because this is like Compulse. It's a deliberate, almost a reword, like an offensive rewording for Legendary Jiu-Jitsu Master. And a lot of the initial rock stun anti-meta decks. And this one is giving it to literally every character in our deck today. And it's, again, it doesn't say, it's as if it was involved in the battle. It doesn't say, was it attacked? Did it do the attacking? Either way, you're okay. So, Magnet Field, great card. We do have the Monster Reborn, obvious good card. 2 polymerizations, because obviously we're going to fuse Empyrean by means of Berserkian and Valkyrian. We do have the 1 Pot of Avarice, shuffling up our monster cards back into our deck to draw 2. We've got the Raigakai, which I'm just realizing was supposed to be terraforming. I spaced on that one, guys. Oh well. So this is supposed to be terraforming, but it's Ragakai. Play the terraforming. Holy crud. The 2 magnet conversions target up to 3 level 4 or lower magnet warriors in the graveyard and add them to the hand. And then during either player's turn except the turn this is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the discard pile. Target 1 banish level 4 or lower magnet warrior and special summon it back. Again, this helps with Berserkian. If you do the Valkyrian plays properly, you will be able to send 3 cards from your hand to play Valkyrian. Use this, put them back in your hand, and possibly discard for another Valkyrian. Necrofusion. Fusion summon a fusion monster from the extra deck by banishing materials listed on it from your graveyard face down. And the only drawback is the monster will not be able to attack that turn, but that's fine. And then good old Rock Bombardment, send a rock type monster from your deck to the graveyard, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Again, it's a casual deck. You want to upgrade this, you guys go ahead. Quick things is obviously Ragakai was supposed to be terraforming. Rock Bombardments could be Solemn Strikes. We could totally take out the Necro Fusion, or we could just keep it in there as a one-of. Maybe swap the Polymerization to a double. Or again, we could utilize Predaplane Verde Anaconda, which we didn't. But I didn't want to get too close to where we started thinking about putting in Dragoon, because Dragoon does not allow for the deck to remain casual. So now that I showed you there's a couple ways to play Empyrean, and one of the best ways is by discarded cards. Must be fusion to summon using the fusion materials above. Cannot be special summoned any other way. Once per turn during either player's turn. When the opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can negate that activation, and if you destroy the card. Poof, that is just too good. If this face-up card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, special summon both Valkyrian and Berserkian from hand and or deck, ignoring summoning conditions. It's kind of why I went out of the way to play this deck casually, is because when I read this guy the first time, I was like, that's a cool boss character that looks like it's way too much work, and it really isn't. Daigusto Emerald has 2 very cool effects. And again, we can take the Pot of Avarice out of the deck if we really wanted to increase the playability. Replace that with something like Called by the Grave. 2 level 4 monsters, once per turn, detach material from it, activate an effect. Either target 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, draw a card, or target 1 non-effect monster in your graveyard and special summon it back, which would, of course, allow you to bring back a Magnet Warrior, which, again, with the field spell, could act as an extension to give you a third play. Exiton Knight, again, if you're behind on the board, you'll use this effect once per chain during your own main phase or your opponent's battle phase. If the opponent controls or has more cards in their hand and field than you, quick effect, attach material, destroy all other cards on the field except for Exiton Knight, and the opponent takes no further damage for the remainder of the turn. So again, you're not going to board wipe them that round, but you will even the scales back out. Gorgonic Guardian, I think it's time that you guys meet my little tech princess here. She's not that easy on the eyes until you read the effect, and that's what makes her beautiful. So, 2 level 3 rock types. Again, we got a whole bunch of these little electromagnets that are going to be 3s. Once per turn, either player's turn, detach material from this card, target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes 0, and if it does, its effects are negated. These effects last until the end of the turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster on the field with 0 attack and destroy it. So, as a quick effect, we can stun our opponent's monster, and on our own turn, we can stun break. So, fantastic. Leviaire is here to recall back those banished electromagnets. Once per turn, detach material from this, target a level 4 lower banished monster, special summon it back. The links are pretty self-explanatory. Apollosa, Bow the Goddess, is here. We can easily do a lot of different names real quick to give it the 800 attack per original name used for it. up to 4 obviously, so 3200 power. Once per chain, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you may make this card lose 800 if you do negate activation. So good for like chain blocking and stunning. BLS Soldier of Chaos, very good card. Needs 3 monsters with different names. Again, very easy to do in this deck. If it is link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster as material, your opponent cannot target it with card effects, and it may not be destroyed by the opponent's card effects. And this is also possible because of Berserkian. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, activate one of the following. This card can gain 1500 permanently to the attack. It may make a second attack during the battle phase of your next turn, or you can immediately banish one card on the field. Not bad for a Link 3. Borreload, again, pretty self-explanatory. Neither player can target it with monster effects. Once per turn as a quick effect, target a monster on the field. It loses 500 attack and defense, and this effect cannot be responded to. Or at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can place the opponent's monster in a zone next to this card to where it points to. Take control of it and send it to the graveyard during the end phase of the next turn. So if it's your opponent's big bad, like Appaloosa or something, they ran out of negates or they chose not to negate or whatever, you could do something like that. Highly unlikely. Or you could turn it around and use it as your own link fodder. Boral Sword, guy wins games. Same makeup, 3+ effect monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn. Quick effect, target an attack position monster, change it to defense. Then this card may make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. This effect's activation. Once per turn, when this card declares an attack on a face-up monster, you can activate this effect until the end of the turn. It gains attack equal to half that monster's current attack. And if it does, that monster currently loses half of its attack. It's essentially the old spell card Riroku. Nightmare Phoenix, here for popping up back row, unicorn sealing things. And Mrs. Radiant is here for the extra power bonuses. So that is my casual magnets. I will probably not be doing an update for this deck for some time. Yes, you could put Delta in here. I chose not to. Because I'm a bad player. And also because this is the casual duelist. Not everything needs to be top tier, god tier, destroy your regionals. Sometimes it's literally about just having fun on the table with your friends. And that's why I built this deck. So I wanted to make sure that when I reviewed this, I wanted you guys to understand that that was the purpose of this build at the time. And that's why I'm sharing it with you today. So, maybe in 7 months or so, we can update it, do it a little more competitive. We'll get a ban list or two between us. We'll trade up the spell traps, maybe add some hand traps. It'll be cool. And we'll handle that when the time comes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you later on in the week. Peace.